Hi, I'm Kathy with Canyon Walker Connections, and I'm going to ask you when you're done with this video to share it because this is a really important issue. Do you know that gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender children are not federally protected in this country in our schools from harassment and bullying for their sexual orientation or gender identity? Currently, they are protected from harassment and bullying for sex, for nation of origin, for their religion, their race, and from disabilities, but not for sexual orientation and gender identity. So it's really important that those two conditions and classes of children be attached to this reauthorization that will be coming up for vote in December or January. It made it out of committee without this attached, so it's really important that when it gets voted on, that this does get attached. The attachment will be the Student Non-Discrimination Act, H.R. 4350, that has been introduced, that will be introduced by Senator Al Franken. So what you need to do beforehand is get a hold of your senators, Republicans especially, because there's a danger that this will go down party lines. There is no reason any public servant in this country should be voting against the protection of the most marginalized of children in our school. And yes, they are the most marginalized. Research from the Family Acceptance Projects shows that the difference between children that are GLBT that are accepted as opposed to rejected, there's 8 times more likely to attempt suicide, GLBT students that are rejected. They are 6 times more likely to report high levels of depression. They're 3 times more likely to use illegal drugs and alcohol, and they're 3 times more likely to be at risk for HIV and AIDS. These children are very marginalized children. They are very much at risk in their mental and physical health, and we need to protect them from bullying. And you may think that why should we add yet another law? I mean, my goodness, I'm on social media enough. I know that there are adults that can't control themselves, that harass and bully. So we certainly know that there are children. And they just need their administrators and their teachers to protect them and to enforce the laws. And the consequences to the schools are if they do not protect these children. Their school boards are open to suits, and they will lose public funding. I was involved in a case that happened in the Midwest this summer. A youth pastor contacted me because he had a student in his group that, although there was a restraining order against some bullies in his school, the principal of the school was not enforcing that and protecting this child. He was doing a horrible job of it until I asked PFLAG to get involved, and they came in and they brought an attorney and they brought a police officer, which then, that accountability, force that principal to hold that restraining order with some kind of integrity in it to protect this child. Good news, the kid is better off, but every GLBT child in this country ought to be federally protected from harassment and bullying for their sexual orientation or gender identity. So who should care? Obviously, parents of GLBT youth. All you PFLAGers out there, all you 350 chapters, get your family and friends and all your membership to write to your senators and tell them that right now you want them to know that you expect when this gets introduced on the floor of the Senate that H.R. 4350, the Student Non-Discrimination Act, will be attached to the ESEA. Parents, just parents, you know that you want to protect your children. We'll protect other children. Christians, we're supposed to be at the forefront of fighting against oppression and injustice. And these children, my goodness, they're the least of these. The gay community, you remember. Trans community, you remember what it was like to be bullied and harassed. Any adult in this country that has a modicum of civility or a love and a sense of protection for children, all of us ought to be caring. I don't care if you're the most conservative of people in this country. You need to care about the protection of children. This is an easy process. Go to the link that's below this YouTube video that will bring you to my blog. There's a sample letter on there and all of your senators and representatives' addresses. Easy process. Cut, paste, send, cut, paste, send, cut, paste, send. Done. 5 minutes. So what we want to insist on is that when this act, this ESEA, Elementary and Secondary Education Reauthorization Act, comes to the floor of the Senate, that all of our senators all of our senators are fully behind this, and that this passes and it goes to the House of Representatives. And your representatives ought to know before then that you expect them to vote for this, because there is no public servant in this country that should be voting against the protection of children, and that's what this would be. So please go to the bottom, go click on that link, go get the information you need, and please join me. I'm Kathy with Canyon Walker Connections. Join me in protecting the most at-risk children in our school system, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender children. Please, please protect them by voting, by asking that the Student Non-Discrimination Act become federal law to protect them. Thank you.